Hi all. Today we will cover chapter 3 and chapter 3 is on business performance management, and we have 6 things to cover from chapter 3. First of all, we would go over what is business performance management. Okay, this we will look at from the book or from the chapter PowerPoint, that is PowerPoint slides on chapter 3, and then the process of BPM, okay, the process. And then we have another set of PowerPoint slides under performance management strategies. You can find it from the Blackboard content, the chapter notes. We have a performance management strategy slide, and from that we would go over KPI, key performance indicator, then the elements of a KPI, different types of targets, and different types of KPI. Okay, so this is our study guide for chapter 3. Now I'll bring up chapter 3 and see what is BPM. So BPM, as the term is business performance management, and business performance management, what is it? It's a real-time system, okay, that alert managers to potential opportunities, impending problems and threats, and empowers them to react through models and collaboration. Okay, so it's a series of processes, okay, and applications. It's a series of processes and applications designed to optimize the execution of business strategy. Okay, so once again, business performance management is a series of processes and applications designed to optimize the execution of business strategy. It's a real-time system that alert managers to potential opportunities, problems, and threats, and empowers them to react through models and collaboration. And we will look into the BPM process, which is pretty simple process. The process has 4 steps. Number 1 is strategize, number 2 is plan, number 3 is monitor and analyze, and number 4 is act and adjust. Okay, the first one, strategize. The executives, they set the strategy. Then on the basis of the strategy, the managers develop plans, which is number 2, plan. Managers, they develop plans. Number 3, monitor. Everyone monitors their progress toward meeting goals and objectives using reports and analysis. And make corrections to stay on track. And you know, we can use performance dashboards. We have already designed a dashboard, so you have seen. We can use a dashboard to monitor. We can look at reports, and we can use other analytical tools like OLAP and OLTP for analyzing. Okay, so the third step is, the first one, strategize, is by the executives who will set the strategy. Then plan will be the managers who will develop the plan. Monitor would be everyone. Everyone will monitor their progress toward meeting the goals and objectives. And how would they do that? They would use reports and analysis, and they would make corrections to stay on track. Technology is heavily used in the monitoring phase, like dashboards, reports, and analytical tools. And then finally, staff will be executing the plans. So they would be acting and adjusting. They would act and adjust. Now, BPM processes and tools enable good management, as you can see, because we are monitoring and we are acting and adjusting to stay on track. So BPM processes and tools enable good management by making it easier for executives at all levels to identify, communicate, and monitor key drivers of business value. So BPM is about improving performance in the right direction. So look at the process once again. Executives, they strategize, managers plan, everybody monitors using tools, reports, technologies, analytical tools, dashboards, etc. And then staff will execute the plans by means of act and adjust. So you will see that BPM will enable good management by making it easier for executives at all levels to identify, communicate, and monitor key drivers of business value. And so BPM is about improving performance in the right direction. Okay, so what is BPM? We have looked into, and we have looked into the process of business performance management. Next thing we would do is we will pull up the performance management strategy slides. And performance management strategy slides are loaded in your Blackboard. So under the content and under chapter slides, so you can find it from there. Okay, so this slide once again is in the Blackboard under content and chapter slides. From here, we would be looking at some of the performance metrics. You would see that they are similar to our dashboard that we designed, and this is the process, and we have gone over the process already. Okay, like strategize, plan, monitor, analyze, and act and adjust from the other slides. So we have done it, and then okay, we would now cover KPI. Matrix is a measure of business activity. All of you know that it's a measure of business activity. Okay, and then what is KPI or key performance indicator? It's a metric with time-based performance targets aligned with business strategy. Okay, so once again, metric is a measure of business activity, and key performance indicator is a metric with time-based performance targets aligned with business strategy. Okay, business target, performance target. Let me give you an example so that it would make sense to you. Like performance target can be something like 10% growth in net profit by the year end. That can be a performance target. Time-based, see, time-based performance target. That is 10% growth in net profit. That is your performance target. Time-based part is by the year end. So key performance indicator once again is a metric with time-based performance target aligned with business strategy. Okay, now the elements of a key performance indicator, the elements are 6. There are 6 elements. One is strategy, which talks about the strategic objective. Okay, then we have targets. KPI measures performance against strategic targets. Sorry, specific targets. Okay, once again, regarding the element target, KPI measure performance against specific targets. For example, the ones that I just quoted, 10% growth in net revenue by year end. Then ranges, targets have performance ranges like above, on, or below target. Then you have another element called encoding, and ranges are encoded in software, enabling the visual display of performance like green, yellow, red. If it is falling below the target, it would be shown in red in dashboard. If it is, like above, it's green, that means all is fine, all is safe. If the performance is on target, that's yellow. So you can see by the color, by the visual display, you can see, look at the color and you can find out the performance, okay, visually. Once again, ranges are, targets have performance ranges. It can be above target, on target, or below target. And encodings are, ranges are encoded in software, enabling the visual display of performance. Like if it is above target, it's green. If it is on target, it's yellow. If it is below target, it's red. So by just looking at the color on the dashboard, I, being the manager, can find out the performance of the organization at that point of time. Time frames, targets are assigned time frames by which they must be accomplished. Like for the target that I first quoted, 10% growth in net revenue by year end. So that was the time frame. And then benchmarking. Benchmarking is always measured against a base, the targets. The targets are always measured against a baseline or benchmark. Benchmarkings are baseline against which you measure something. So once again, these are the features, these are the elements of a KPI. One is the strategic objective. Then the next thing is target. That is KPI measure performance against specific targets. Ranges, targets have performance ranges. Encoding, ranges are encoded in software, enabling the visual display of performance. Time frames are, targets are assigned time frames, but by which they must be accomplished. And benchmarks are, targets are measured against a baseline, which is called a benchmark. Types of targets, it can be achievement, it can be in absolute value, it can be in min max, it can be in reduction, so on and so forth. The different types of KPIs, it can be like outcome, drivers, and operational. The level would be strategic, drivers would be tactical, operational is operational. Look at the purpose: to measure outcomes of key goals, to measure drivers of key outcomes, to measure key business activity related to drivers. And if you look at the examples, you have the outcome KPI can be revenue, profit, cost. The drivers can be number of sales, meetings scheduled, customer satisfaction. Example of operational KPI would be mean time between failure, average returns per customer, so on. Okay, so this is basically what we have to cover from chapter 3. In chapter 3, we have looked into what is BPM, what is that process, like strategize, plan, monitor, and act and adjust. Then we looked at what is a KPI, what are the different elements of a KPI, those 6 elements, the different types of targets, like whether it's an achievement, whether it's a goal, uh, whether it's an achievement, whether it's absolute value, whether it's a reduction, okay, whether it's min, max or zero. And then we also talked about the different types of KPI, okay. And in these different types of KPI, we looked at the outcome, drivers and operational. And do look at the examples of outcome. Outcome would be key performance indicator, revenue, profit, cost. Drivers would be number of sales meeting schedule, customer satisfaction. Some operational KPIs would be mean time between failure, average returns per customer. Okay, this is your chapter 3. And now what I would do is I will in another video clip